Hello, everyone. Welcome to your candidate forums. We'll start off today and I'll explain how the format would go, step by step. Here are a few things that you need to know. Any question asked by the audience will be asked of all candidates for the same position with the same amount of time allocated for response, which is 2 minutes, or if it differs, um, that would be 1 minute. No candidate may ask any questions of the other candidates so that there is no way to give unfair advantage or disadvantage to the candidates on the panel today. Following the forums, any statements about ASI that are factually incorrect will be addressed on the ASI website under the fact check section. We'll start off with the opening statements that would be 2 minutes long. Herbia will time you and she will indicate if you have 30 seconds left, 10 seconds left, so that you know how much time you're left with. Then we'll have one general question, one positional question. Both of these would be 2 minutes long, same as the opening statement. Then we'll have any questions from the audience you will have 1 minute to answer. And we'll conclude it with the closing statement that will also be 2 minutes long. Let's start with Dylan James Brown. If you could please start your opening statement. As soon as you start talking, Herbie will start timing you. So just take note of that. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to say, can you hear me well? Is it okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm ready to start. My opening statement before I moved to Sacramento, my first semester as a senior in high school, which was fall of 2024, I completed a lengthy application and I was given a seat on the youth council for the city of Beaumont. And it was an executive council that was tasked with representing the youth of Beaumont, volunteering at local events, and engaging with nonpartisan politics and initiatives. Only a month of my tenure, I delivered a speech prior to voting on who would become the economic development liaison and an advisory committee that focused on advertising the city council as well as and advising the city council, creating plans and ideas that would lead to this prosperity of our city. Following my speech, though, I received more than 80% of the youth council's vote, which then allowed me to represent the youth community. And I say this to emphasize my commitment towards representation of my community, whether that be characterized as the youth or the student body here on campus. Because when I was on the economic development committee and when I was on the youth council, I was never a yes man. And I often questioned people, no matter how close we were behind closed doors, because I know that there seems to be a lack of transparency or accountability when it comes to student perception of ASI. And almost every student I talk to tells me that they don't know what ASI is up to. Agendas and topics aren't really talked about unless you make that 3 p.m. commitment. It's really just good luck on keeping up with ASI. So I want to bring transparency. I want to promote clubs and events. I want to do my part to ensure that ASI represents students. I want to push the boundaries to address problems that face and directly face students. And I want to dutifully advocate for all students' best interests. And then the last thing that I would say is that I really do want to push the boundaries on ASI's role on campus. Even though we're all in knowledge of the fact that there's a lot of red tape that happens behind closed doors, we still should be able to advocate and push the boundaries as far as what we can do and what is possible. Thank you. That's me.
Thank you. Now that we don't have any other candidate, I will ask you one general question. Again, you'll have 2 minutes to answer this question. So I'll ask you the first question. What resources do you believe SACSAID is currently lacking, or where do you think there should be expansion to better support students in completing their degrees? Let me know if you want me to repeat the question. I'll repeat it anyways. What resources do you believe SACSAID is lacking, or where do you think there should be expansion to better support students in completing their degrees?
My bad. I had to make sure that I wasn't like just talking. So to answer your question, I think that Sac State should the expanding and the responsibility to provide classes over the summer. I've noticed specifically with political science, which is my major, summer registration covers little to no required courses for my bachelor's degree. And some classes can only be offered during specifically the fall or specifically the spring semester. And it complicates my academic journey. And frankly, it makes graduation dates an uncertainty that I believe if focused on, which would lead to the expansion of departments, bringing more professors, more classes, and more availability.
Thank you, Dylan. I've seen another candidate just came in, Elijah. If you could give us your opening statement. It will be 2 minutes long. And Herbie will time you. So if you could please give us your opening statement. Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. So we're moving forward with asking each candidate about their opening statement, followed by a few questions. So the format is that you get 2 minutes for your opening statements. Herbie will time you. She'll give you the notification if there's how many times left. If you could please give us your opening statement. Thank you.
My opening statement is I want Backfit to be an inclusive campus for all students. I feel like for students who are commuting and students who are dorming, there's a wide disconnect. And I feel like a lot of campuses like UT community that we do not. And I want to help improve that sense of community so every student feels like they belong and they don't have to, let me say, they don't have to, I don't know, have no like, I guess in a way, sense of family or community. I think that just because we're community schools doesn't mean that Sac State can't have that. And in addition to, I think a big thing is getting back to the community. I think a lot of like high schools in the Sacramento area I've been volunteering with don't have a sense of direction of where they want to go after college. Even if I think that we can help with that. We're giving resources, events for other high schools like Luther Burbank. A lot of the high schoolers or seniors don't exactly know what they want to do. We were helping to invest in them because they are our future. And we have a lot with them. Yeah, college plans, what they want to do, because even if they don't go to SAC, they having our youth being educated. And I also would like to add more transparency to, sorry about that, the ASI, because I feel a lot of students don't exactly, they don't know where to find the meetings. It's hard, like, I don't even meetings, to give a bigger platform to these students so they actually know what's going on in the ASI and how the issues, like what they're voting for, and also what's going on around campus. And that's my statement.
Thank you, Elijah. We'll start off with a general question from you. That also would be 2 minutes long. So, and Herbie will time you. So I'll ask you the third question. It is, what motivated you to run for student government?
Motivated me to start to run for student government was I saw how good other schools' student governments were on TikTok. Big example was NCAT, HBCU. I saw how student involved their student body was with the students. And I come to Sac State. I want to bring that to Sac State. I feel like a lot of students don't exactly know what, I mean, I said this earlier, what goes on in ASI. And I believe that having a community that's involved with ASI helps bring a sense of family. And it really did help, like, seeing like how ASI hosts these events, like the Lil Yachty and all these other rappers, like gave me like a sense of I didn't see last year, a sense of community, and everyone was like, it's like that seeing that feeling of people being involved in campus life. Sorry about that. I'm having some connection issues, but yeah, I feel that that's a statement.
Thank you, Elijah. We'll go back to Dylan for your positional question. Again, that will also be 2 minutes. Um, I'll ask you the second question. That is, if elected, what would be your number one priority relating to the college or group?
Okay, yes, I am unmuted. Okay, I think my number one priority would just be transparency because in order for you to evolve as a board, in order for you to truly listen, you have to be able to communicate what you want to do and what you bring forth and what's been happening in the ASI board in order for you to get real feedback because a lot of students have concerns and they have issues that they have with Sacramento State entirely, but a lot of them don't actually know how to take those steps to, I guess, address those issues or address those concerns. And they don't know the pathways to take, and they don't know what's been talking about or what's being talked about behind closed doors or open doors, I guess you could say. So if I'm elected, my top priority would just be transparency. And then you build off from that. You build off from being able to tell people and communicate and say, this is what I'm here, this is what we're doing. How do you feel about it? And how do you want to move? Not only just as students, but as a student body.
Thank you. We'll go to Olasia again. For your positional question, again, that will be 2 minutes. Um, I'll ask you the third question. That is, what methods would you use to get input from the students in your college or group?
So sorry, can you repeat that again? My connection
Sure.
cut out.
It's what methods would you use to get input from your students in your college or group?
What methods? For a big one would probably be social media. A lot of our generation uses social media as a platform to speak against or just speak in general. And also email too for forums. Like Google Forms, I think have been really helpful getting an understanding of where people like where input is. Because a lot of people don't know where to complain to ASI or like who to complain to when they have an issue. And I want to be able to give them a platform through social media and I guess Google Forms, emailing the forums, like emailing input, like how do you feel about campus life? How do you feel about how the ASI board is running things? And how do you feel like do you think the campus life is safe? Stuff like that. I want to give a platform for everyone to feel safe and included. Like I don't want to have some people who would say who are studying abroad, um, off campus, having a way to give their input to ASI. I feel like there's still a big disconnect there.
Thank you, Alicia. We'll go forward and ask if there are any audience questions. If anyone has a question, please, you can unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. Do you have any questions?
I'll ask. I kind of heard both of you briefly say the word transparency and having ASI be more transparent. Could you share with us where you think ASI is not being transparent?
Does it just anybody just answer it or
So both of you will answer the question. You get 1 minute for the response to this question. So it'll go to both of you since you both are being asked. Well, I asked you or I asked both of you. So both of you will answer it.
okay, so I'll just go first. I think ASI, in a sense, is transparent as far as the big things that they're doing, the events, the promotional ideas that they have. Especially when we come up on elections, that seems to be like where the big sprout of everything that ASI is doing comes around. But when I'm talking about transparency, I'm talking about the off season. I'm talking about going to all kinds of different clubs, organizations that are active on campus that are looking for that person to explain to them what their place is in making sure that they're involved and they're engaged. Because oftentimes I go to Planned Parenthood or I'll go to CSUS Dems or I'll go to the Student Economics Association. And we have these conversations of, okay, well, what do we do and how do we do it? But it really just comes down to having somebody that's in that position that's able to give clarification. So, I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with direct ASI in general as a body, I think it has to do with the individuals.
I would like to say, I think that I don't have a problem with any individual on ASI. I don't think that no one is hiding anything, but I would say it's the involvement of every individual because a lot of the times I think there's a bit of a disconnect because this is me personally. I haven't seen a single ASI board member at any of the clubs I go to, the HMN, the BSU, all these events. And I do think that they're involved in their schedule too. They're busy, but I feel like being involved more as a community and listening to like who is electing you would be really helpful because I feel like there's a lot of voices that don't really know how to get in contact with these ASI members.
Thank you, candidates. If there are any other questions from the audience, we still have time to get any audience questions. Anyone? All right. If there are any questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll move forward with having the closing statement. Again, that'll also be 2 minutes. So, Dylan, we'll start with you. Kindly give us your closing statement. Thank you.
Um, Okay, so for my closing statement, I just want to say that I'm a first year at Sacramento State. I'm not somebody that's from the area. I'm not even somebody that's from NorCal entirely. I'm from SoCal. And before I got here, I had this kind of rosy image of what Sacramento State would be because I was following the ASI accounts and I was following all the resource accounts. And then you see all the videos and you know how beautiful it is out here. And then I get out here and yeah, it is beautiful and it is a good place to be. But at the same time, there are problems that need to be addressed. And I hear from sophomores, juniors, and even graduating seniors about all kinds of things that have happened last year, things that have transpired even the year prior to that. And to me, it really did something to me as a college student because although I do have that advocacy side of me, I never thought that I would be running for an ASI position. But the longer that I was here and the more that I heard, I just thought, well, why would I sit here and not do anything? If I'm aware that X, Y, and Z is happening, why wouldn't I take it upon myself to be present and to say something and to do something about it and be that voice and be that change? Because I do believe that you can't, if you don't push the boundaries, then you don't actually make change. And if you want to make change, you have to be the change that you want to see. So that's my closing statement.
Thank you, Dylan. We'll move forward with Alasia. If you could give us your closing statement.
When I first got to Sacramento State last year, I wasn't really involved in the community. I was just keeping to myself and my friends. And this year is when I really like I saw a change in myself. First, I wasn't sure. Uh, I had a job. I quit my job, and I got to be more involved in campus stuff. I got to see all these issues that people were complaining about. How one of them was that they can't use their funds for ASI, or they had a lot of complaints, and they didn't know where to go. And I went to more of these clubs, and I got more involved, and I realized like how these issues affect me and all these other students. And I wanted to make sure that I could do my part and make sure that I try my best to help these students have a platform or have a voice, and they need to be heard. There's a lot of students like I would say some of my friends with disabilities, they felt like they didn't have a platform or they had no resources and they need help getting resources. And that's what really understood me. Like as someone who's able-bodied, I never realized how many issues these other students besides me have. And it kind of opened my eyes into like, if I can do something, if I can say something, if I can be that voice for them, I think I should do it. If I have the opportunity, why not? Because they don't have the opportunity. Some of these people have they don't know what to do. And I feel like I have an opportunity to do something for them. And I just want to do that. I want to be someone that like is a voice for all and make sure that no one's not heard.
Thank you, Alicia. That concludes our candidate forums for today. You guys are free to go. Please note that there are candidate forums happening after this meeting. You could join those to see what your peers are running, what their ideas are, and if you feel like asking them questions, please feel free to join those and participate. And thank you so much for joining. You guys are free to go.
Thank you.